Welcome to part 49 of my series of videos showing my romance novel collection. And what you see here are just a portion of the books that I bought today. Now, most of these books I bought at library sales. Local libraries would have used book sales, ongoing used book sales, which in these two particular libraries' cases are fill a bag for $1. So a bunch of these were only, I'd fill a bag and they were only $1. And also some of these were from the free box of a local library. So some of these, like these Joanne Lindsay books, I got for free. And then some were a couple I bought at a thrift store. So anyways, we'll look at all these books here, or try to anyways, as I readjust the thing here. Now, I did get some big books too. These are trade paperback size books. These books were both from the fill a bag for $1, although they were at two different libraries. This is a Jeanette Oak book, who is a religious writer. This is the first book in the Women of the West series, as the previous owner has helpfully written on the page there, from Bethany House Publishers, from 1990. And there's a list of Jeanette Oak's books and the Women of the West series. Table of contents, and an example of the opening page. And I've not read any Jeanette Oak, but I have a couple of her books that are in this size, and they look very charming and appealing. Now this is a Jennifer Blake book, who wrote a lot of historical romances. This is a trade paperback. And it's very thick. In fact, I'm going to lower this here, as I lower the phone here. There we go. That looks a little better. From Fawcett Columbine, whatever that is. Fawcett was known for Fawcett Crest and Fawcett Gold Medal, but this is another imprint of theirs. First edition, 1984. Nice big book. And this was also in a fill a bag for $1 deal. Sandra Brown, Temptation's Kiss. This is actually a classic romance. This is a reprint of an earlier category romance that Sandra Brown wrote. There's a great photo of Sandra Brown from back in the day. And there's a note from Sandra Brown. See, the book is copyrighted 1983. It doesn't give another year, but it says that this was originally published more than 10 years ago, so this is probably around 1995 maybe, or 94, so that's a kind of thin book, but interesting. Now, when I was at the library, my sister pointed out this one. It was in the fill a bag for $1 shelves, and she said, knowing that this would be something that I might like, and I pointed out that this is Philip Baccar, who is also Victoria Holt, who is also Jean Plady. This one, I think, is from 1989, shortly before she passed away. Yep, 1989. And it starts out like so many of Victoria Holt's and Philip Baccar's books in the first person. I was 10 years old when my contented life was disrupted by my mother's marriage to Benedict Lansdowne, etc. So this is the kind of book that would suck in many readers. And another of the bigger books are these two by Rachel Kane. The Morganville Vampires. These are 2 hardcover books. Again, these were in the fill-a-bag for $1. They just looked interesting. No, original cover price was $17.99. Let's see, this was 2013. And this one is, I believe, probably the next year or the year after. Day Later's is also 2013. All right. So now we get some of the paperback books here. And this book was in the free box. And I think this one was, no, this was in the fill-a-bag for $1. I've had this exact same book before, and I think I later sold it. One Coin in the Fountain started out, I think it's from the 1950s. And, yeah, it says copyright 1957. And then Harlequin published it in 66, but they kept reprinting it. So this 8th printing is from 1981. But it's compliments of hefty bags. So this is part of a promotion from Harlequin, where it was probably, you get a free book with a purchase of hefty bags, trying to promote their romance novels to supermarkets and shoppers. And this book is a Fawcett Crest book, the eagerly awaited new novel by the author of Gower Street, The Haymarket by Claire Rayner. This looks like a early Regency romance from the 1970s. This is 1974. So this is kind of before the traditional Regency lines started to appear. They started to appear around the mid to late 70s. And Fawcett had their own line eventually in 1979, the Coventry romance line. So I'm thinking this is kind of part of that early, Regency thing where they kind of realized, let's just have lots of these books. And they're not too thick either. They're kind of thin. Love's Avenging Heart by Patricia Matthews. This is published by Pinnacle Books. And The Compelling Style of Love's Tender Fury and Dark Fires. So this was sort of trying to cash in on the sort of sweeping romantic sagas, historical romances of that time. Some more books by Patricia Matthews. First printing January 1977. This is the 12th printing from 1979. So you can see how popular this book was, that it would run through so many editions. And we come to next, a bunch of Joanne Lindsay books. And like I said before, these were all in the free box at the library. In fact, there's another one here. There's 4 Joanne Lindsay books. They actually had a couple more, but I didn't grab all of them. I actually have this one in A Heart So Wild. I have this in a hardcover edition. And I think I have these 2 also in a paperback edition already. I do not have A Pirate's Love, which I think was her second novel after Captive Bride. I could be mistaken, but this is 1978, so it is a very early Joanne Lindsay. Her first book came out in 77. But I was pleased to get this for free. Nice condition book. In fact, let's see what edition this is. This looks like the 20th edition, or the 20th printing. There's a so you can tell this is from around 1987, or probably came out in 86, late 86. So that being like the 20th printing. This one I think is from 1982. February 1982, but it's the 6th printing. And like I said, I think I've shown these in previous videos, these same books. It was 1984. First printing, it looks like. The nice thing about these is even if you've got this book already, you know, these are in such nice shape that, you know, you can just put them up on eBay and someone will buy them. December 1986. So it doesn't matter if you end up getting doubles. If you're a fan of romance novels and you see them for free or cheap, you might as well grab them, because as one of my friends who used to work in a used bookstore said, when I mentioned a library that had paperbacks for 10 cents each, you know, he said 10 cents each is like one step away from being thrown out, you know. So don't feel too guilty if you see these and think, you know what, I'm just going to grab them, because otherwise they may somebody may think, well, they have no value, someone's not even going to pay 10 cents for them, they're not even going to take them in their free box, might as well pitch them. Well, obviously they do have value, you know. So they're this is a Queen of Nights, David Wind writing as Monica Berry. I have a one or two other books where it's just Monica Berry and this is David Wind in the copyright thing, but here it has him as you know, in fact I think they are tapestry books that I got that he wrote. So this is 1985. Author's note from David Wind. I think this is being billed more as just like a general historical rather than perhaps romance, you know, because it just says historical on there. But otherwise, it looks very much like a historical romance, which he also wrote. And then these were also in the free box. Valerie Sherwood, 2 very thick books, which was the kind of books that she wrote. Love Song and Night Song. They're not in the best condition, but they're all right. There's just sort of a little tan condition. Coming soon, Wind Song, May 1986, Night Song, December 1986. So imagine writing 2 books of like this thickness. Ooh, it sounds like this, almost the page almost sounded like it was going to come apart. These books are so thick. And pocketbooks, I might have mentioned in a previous video, pocketbooks, I've never been happy with their, especially these 1980s books, with their bindings. It seems like the covers have a tendency to fall off. She dedicates to her pet. I think the other book has a similar thing. But yeah, you got to be careful with these books, these pocketbooks, because they're easily fall off. But you can see how tanned that back cover is. This is 1985. September 85, looks like a first printing. And Night Song, one of the covers seems like it's on there a little better. First printing, 1986. And again, it's another of her pets is dedicated to. And some more historicals from that period. Ellen Tanner Marsh. This is a very newish looking book, although I think it's actually, you know, a 1980s edition. Let's take a look. So it's 1986, and it looks like a first printing to me. So that's hard to believe. It dedicates to Tom Huff, aka Jennifer Wilde. Yeah, it looks like a later edition because it's so fresh looking, so nice looking. Well, it's possible it's the first printing from the 80s. Bertrice Small, Love Lost and Found. That's how thick that is. About the author. From Ballantine Books. This is from 1989. The original trade paperback edition was February 89. This mass market paperback edition is from 1991. Comes with the genealogy. Another big genealogy thing. More genealogy. And finally, you get to the prologue. So quite an epic, it looks like. And then two more historicals here from the 1980s. Catherine Creel, Captive Flame, and Cassie Edwards, Roses After Rain. This is part of the, it looks like the hologram series. There was actually a 50-cent sticker on here that I tore off earlier today when I got this, but it came, some of the hologram on here peeled off as well, unfortunately. This one has some writing in it. You can see it says October 16th, 1988. But this was in the free box, July 1988. So this person must have got it when it was brand new. But yeah, so it was hard to turn down. It's got a library stamp on the page edge there. And this Cassie Edwards book has a very beautiful cover. Roses After Rain. It kind of folds out a little bit there. From Leisure Books, October 1990. For Alicia Condon, who was editor at Leisure Books at this time, who was responsible for the Love Spell line. All right, now we get to a whole bunch of Amanda Quicks, aka Jane Ann Krentz. And I'm not sure if these ones were in the free box or not, or if they were in the fill a bag for $1. Either way, they were super cheap. Surrender, Ravished, Mistress, and Mystique. Now, I think I have maybe one or two of these already. You know, she wrote a lot of these books in the 90s that just have one title. One word titles. And I've only read one of them before. I think it was Dangerous, maybe, might have been the name. But, so this one has a step back. The early ones have step backs on them. The illustration. And this one is from 1990. I think that's 90. It's hard to read there. This must have been one of the early Amanda Quick books, because I think she started doing them in around 1990. And here's Ravished, and this also has a step back. Looks like Fabio there. And I think the same artist did a lot of these step backs for the early Amanda Quick books. There's other books right here. This is 1992. And she's a really good writer, Jane Ann Krentz. But I particularly like her Amanda Quick books because they're very, at least the one I read anyway, it was very funny and fast paced, and it was a quick read, you know, even though it was so long. And there was sort of like a supernatural element to it as well. It wasn't just straight historical. There was always like some sort of, you know, ESP type thing going on, and, you know, so on. This is 1996 or 1995, it looks like. The hardcover was 95, the paperback was 96. All right. This one, as well as, let's see, I can't remember exactly. There was another one too that I got also with this. There's a bookstore, a used bookstore that has a local reused bookstore. It actually has a free box thing on the side of the store, or it's a big free books type of thing. So this book from Susan Johnson caught my eye. Looks really nice. It's from Bantam Books. It's from 1991. But this one caught my eye. It was in nice condition. It was free, so I ended up buying it. I wonder, it's the there's a painting on the side there, but no step back or anything like that. Makes me wonder if originally there was a painting for that cover. Fortune's Lady, Jennifer Blake. These were in the, I think, for either the free box or the fill a bag. This is 1990. There's the back cover. Jennifer Blake. We saw a Jennifer Blake one earlier. This one's Louisiana Dawn. The step back. In fact, that reminds me, I think it was that, this is from 1987, but the paperbacks from 1993. That reminds me, I think that Susan Johnson book had a funny blurb on the back cover. No, maybe it wasn't her. One of these ones had a funny blurb where it was basically the writer, they basically complimented the writer just by saying that she was fast, you know. She was churning them out, which seemed kind of funny. Like Catherine Coulter, the heiress bride, back when she was writing historicals. $1993. There's Catherine Coulter right there. This is the last book in a trilogy. A message from Catherine Coulter on the back cover. And Lord of Falcon Ridge. This, I think, was part of another series. And yeah, it's also the last book of this trilogy, the Viking trilogy. There's Catherine Coulter, looking almost like, you know, Martha Stewart in her garden or something. Nowadays, Catherine Coulter writes thrillers. April 1995. Amanda Scott, Teresa Medeiros, Barbara Dawson Smith. These are historicals. That, again, I think I got in the fill a bag for $1. I think in total I spent probably, $3 for like this entire lot. It's crazy. This is 1995. This is part of the Denise Little Presents line, which was from, what publisher was this? Pinnacle Books. So Denise Little was the editor, and sort of oddly, she promoted herself on the covers of the books, and then the photo of the actual authors right there. And these two books, historicals, Bantam Books. This looks like a medieval, 1995. This one has a step back, really nice one. Whoop. Try to get that glare out of there. From St. Martin's Press. Year 2001. These are some paranormal books. Kathleen Nance, The Seeker, and Christine Feehan, Wildfire. I just like the cover on this one. That looked pretty cool. This is 2002. Wildfire. Step back. The previous owner has written "done" on there. I guess they finished reading it. This is from 2010. And two historicals. Julia Quinn. And this one here I paid 75 cents for at a thrift store. This is a Harlequin historical from January 2019, a Regency. And, you know, these are when Harlequin historical is only available via mail order, basically, you know, through the Harlequin website. They're not sold in stores anymore in the U.S. So it was nice to see this. You know, if you see them, grab them, you know. 2018 it says in copyright, but and Julia Quinn, this is from the Bridgerton series, and it even has a promo for Bridgerton, so you know it's a recent printing. Message from Julia Quinn at the front. Written in 2000. But this, well, it doesn't say what year it is. But it's got to be recent, you know, because of the blurb there. And then we have some more books here. This is a Nora Roberts Silhouette Special Edition from 1997. This is a Harlequin Intrigue, which is very recent. This one's April 2021. Book number 1989. You know, it was nice condition. I'm not sure if this was in the free box at that bookstore or not. I think it was, which was pretty cool. Here's an old Love Inspired book. This was in the fill-a bag for $1. This one is from 2003. And then finally, for the romance novels, we have a whole